So for this week's vlog, I thought that I would do a bit of a theme. I thought that I would talk to you about what I'm doing with Year 8. So I'm going to take you across several lessons this week and talk about what we're going to do. So they're going to come in soon because recess will finish in a minute, but what we have to do this week is we have to finish off, it's week 1, term 4, and we have to finish off our assessment from last term. And some of you who are teachers would know that this sometimes happens. Things get in the way, especially towards the end of term, and you can't quite finish off the assessment that you needed to. So we just did a unit on poetry, so I'm giving them this poem, which is Rough by Stephen Spendon. And we're doing this across the form, so all of Year 8 is going to be doing this. And they're going to be annotating, I've taught them how to do it already, they're going to be annotating this poem, and then they're going to be writing a reflection on that. I'm going to be giving them some guided questions, or actually I think I'll do sentence starters to help them start their little mini paragraphs for the 4 things. Yes, there are 4 things that I want them to cover in their response. And I'll put them up on the whiteboard, the sentence starters. I'll try and do that before they get into the room, but if I don't, that's okay. Then once that's all completed, we are going to begin our unit for the term, and this term we're going to be doing a unit called Digi Speak, which is a unit that my colleague developed, and it's kind of a quest because in our syllabus we've got to cover digital text and multimodal texts. And there's the bell. I was going to talk to you about the outcomes, but I'll save that for later because they'll be coming in any second. Yeah, it's pretty hot today. And who can tell me what are some of the poetic techniques that we went over? Yes. Alliteration and assonance. Remember they went together because we revised all of that, didn't we? Very good, thank you. Metaphors and what goes with them? Similes, very good.
Rhyme and rhythm.
Rhyme and rhythm, very good. Were there any others? Very good. Good. So you guys, what's going to happen now is I'm going to give you this poem. So that went quite well with Year 8. They will need a little bit more time to finish off that task, so I'll give that to them tomorrow. And I'll probably do a bit of literacy with them tomorrow as well before we start into our next unit properly. Morning. Today's Tuesday and I'm just about to have Year 8. So today they're going to finish off that task that I was telling you about, and I'm also going to be teaching them the second Super 6 strategy for literacy, and it's making connections. I got these posters from a TPT store. I can't remember the name, but if I remember, I'll put the name of it on this video for you. They are going to be using a short story, part of a short story from this book here, English Edge 2, called The Perfect Murder. And I'm going to give them part of that short story after I teach them the strategy of making connections, and they're going to use that to make connections between themselves, you know, text to self, text to world, text to text, to try and have a deeper understanding, comprehension of the text. We've already done predictions, so I'm going to touch on that again so that they can build on that knowledge. They're so keen to get in, they're bashing down the door. Okay, I'll talk to you after the lesson. We started learning about the Super 6 comprehension strategies. Did you know that?
Yeah.
Obviously there are 6 strategies that good readers use to understand, comprehend and really engage with the texts that they are reading. There are 6. We've already done 1. Good readers look for clues in what they're reading to try and figure out what's going to happen next. Prediction. Yes. Excellent. So good readers, as they're reading, not only at the start, not only from the book cover, but continually as they read through, they're constantly predicting what's going to happen. It's called making connections. You're connecting your prior knowledge, what you already knew about a topic, to what you're currently reading. So when you first look at something, you should be thinking, what experience have I had with this before? Have I read about this in another book? Have I seen a TV show about this topic? Has this happened to my friend?
That happened to me.
Has this ever happened to me before?
Have I done this?
Have I done this before? Nice. So that was year 8. It's lunchtime now, and they were pretty restless today, a bit rowdy, but I really wanted to get that second Super 6 strategy addressed with them. I haven't finished because the next lesson they're going to look at a piece of text, a short story, and they're going to apply the making connections strategy to that text. Evaluation is, it was a little bit of a messy lesson, but I kind of knew that would happen because I wanted to do 3 separate things with them. But that's all good. But yeah, I'll talk to you tomorrow. Alert and watchful, she planned her next move. A simple, unnecessary murder. A murder too important to allow herself the indulgence now of sleep. Okay, let's do some predicting. What do you think the story's about?
Murder.
Okay. How do you know? Because of the title. Because of the title. And also the use of the word murder. That's right. I'm going to hand out this one now because we're going to go on to making connections because you've made a couple of predictions so far. And I want you to fill in as many of these boxes as you can. Does this remind you of any TV shows that you might have seen? Some of those crime?
Yes.
Maybe. Like a person doing their morning jog or their morning walk or something.
Yeah, like, you know, that's
Neck minute.
They're drinking coffee.
Yeah.
And then they find a dead guy over there.
Neck minute, there's a dead, yeah, usually it starts with the dead body, doesn't it? Somehow it's going to be discovered. You've got bad luck because your teacher's got excellent hearing. I can hear what you're saying. Yeah, I've got supersonic hearing. The night was a cold one. A sharp wind stirred the leaves, but the stars were alive and glinting in the icy blackness. Restlessly, she rose and paced the floor, willing the time to pass, waiting impatiently for the dawn. Remind you of anything? Is it at the start of the night or halfway through the night?
It's talking about your channel.
Oh, I should do a video on how to go to sleep. Yes, get off your screen half an hour at least before bed, preferably an hour, because what the screen does is it activates your brain and your brain's going.
I just watch TV and then I just fall asleep.
Best tip: read a book. And especially because you always tell me you don't like reading, it'll put you to sleep because it's boring.
My dreams are awesome.
Have a chamomile tea, that helps, but not right on bedtime, like maybe 45 minutes before bed because then you have to pee. You know. The 2 small figures by the window breathed steadily as they slept. What could that be? What could 2 small figures be?
I don't know what it is.
That's what it says. Okay. Maybe. Let's finish the sentence. Look at the page. Unaware of their mother's preoccupations. So that clarifies who are the 2 small figures. Her children. So she's a mother.
Okay.
The she in the first paragraph is a mother. And now we're kind of linking because
Oh my god, the mom kid.
she's a murderer. The mother's a murderer.
God. Like, it's a love murder?
And who is she going to murder?
Her daughter.
We don't know. Maybe. Could
Yes.
be.
Oh my gosh.
Because when I read that to you just then, people started talking and their facial expressions were changing, and I could see that you were thinking of different stuff from what you were thinking at the start of the story, right? Okay, so I just had year 8, and I've got a feeling I don't have them for the rest of the week. So I'll have to film the rest of this vlog next week because I want to do a full 5 lessons, or at least 4 anyway. So today we did making connections. We continued on. I got them to, we talked about the linking different things, text to text, text to self, text to world, and text to media. Got them to use, you can't see that, can you? But got them to do a hands-on thing with the chain symbol around their worksheets, which was this. I quickly just made up. It's nothing fantastic. It's just they had to write in dot points what they could connect the short story to. We didn't finish the short story. I just talked about the intro. We read that first. They did some predicting, and then the first segment of the story after the intro, we talked about what they could connect it to. My evaluation is, I'm surprised it's taking so long to get through these basic things. These kids, I've already assessed their background knowledge on this, and these kids are the ones that I'm doing my literacy project with. I thought that they would already have been familiar with the Super 6 strategies from primary school, but they're not. And a couple of years ago my school did a big literacy project which was funded when we did a big drive across the whole school with these Super 6 comprehension strategies. And these kids, because they're only in year 8, they weren't here then, and so they haven't hit this in primary school, and they haven't hit this in high school. So I'm making the time to do it now because I think it's beneficial. I think it's really good, but ideally it would be better if this was just revision, not the whole teaching of it. But yeah, I'm going to go in with them into their history class. Hopefully I'll talk to their history teacher and see if I can come in now that they know a couple of the strategies. Yeah, hopefully they'll be applying them. So these little mini posters are great. I've just got them to sort of add extra notes to it and to make it their own with some colouring and stuff. Just some hands-on stuff, I think. And then I want to display some of them in the room, and of course I don't have a lot of wall space because of the Year 12s. All the Year 12's names around, but I'm just going to have to go over the top of them because I'd really like these to be displayed. At least a selection of them. Some of the better ones maybe I'll display. Yeah, and my other evaluation would be that if I was to do it again, there'd be less of me talking and more of the kids doing stuff, and more of me showing more examples. I was hoping to find a short story that I could link with holes because they did that as their novel study earlier in the year. So I'll keep on the lookout for that and see if I can find a text that's got some same content or a similar style to holes so that they can make connections with that as well. Something that's more fresh in their memory, I hope, because they just, yeah, it was good to see some of the kids using their decoding skills during that lesson. I was really happy with that. So I didn't have to talk too much about the structure and stuff because they were already using decoding skills, which was really cool. Okay, boys and girls, shh, listen up please. Thank you those people here I can see who have done all of the things as part of our routine to be ready to learn. Well done. And people along here, thank you very much. Today we're just going to go through some more of our comprehension strategies, our Super 6. We've done 2 so far. Today I'm aiming to do 2 more.
Gaming video.
So that we can have 4 up our sleeve and then do 2 later this week or early next week. So today I want to talk about visualizing. So as you are reading, what good readers tend to do is they imagine in their head what is happening in the story. So they play a little movie in their minds of what's happening in the story. I would like to replace that word story with the text, because not everything we read is a story. For example, when you're doing in history particularly, you often will be reading from a textbook or reading informative type texts. True? Yep. So what that means is even if it's not a story, as in even if it's not a narrative or a recount, you need to be trying to imagine the whole thing in your mind, because that's going to help you understand what you're reading better. I had it written up here last week. What was the first? Predicting strategy. Oh, yes.
Making connections.
Oh my goodness, how does he remember? Maybe he was visualising what I had written on the board. Let's go on then and do the next one since you guys are so clever. Questioning. Okay, so I had year 8 today. It's the end of the day and I'm pretty exhausted actually. The kids were really restless today, particularly my Year 9 class, but I'm not talking about them. I'm not talking about them this week. I'm talking about Year 8. So, yeah, we continued on with our Super 6 reading comprehension strategies, and I have now put up some of their little mini posters. Can you see up there? And also some up there. I know it's something really simple, but I just think it's good to display their little bits of work where possible. That went okay. Those ones are pretty basic. We did questioning and visualizing today, and tomorrow I'm hoping to do at least one more, if not two, which would take us to the end of all of them. Also, we started talking about digital worlds. So, yeah. Tomorrow, I think, is the 5th lesson that I've filmed, so that'll be the last one for a week in Year 8. Good morning. Good morning. Today, I'm hoping to... Today in Year 8, I've got lots planned, and I know that I've been a bit ambitious, but I've kind of got two things going on at once, as you know. I've started our unit for this term, and I have been trying to get through these Super 6 comprehension strategies for my literacy project with this group, because they're my group. So this morning I'm putting out their prompts onto the desks. Just to save time, these are the last two out of the Super 6 strategies, and like I said earlier, they should have done this in primary school. They probably did. I don't know. If they did, they can't remember. So to them, it's all new. I know it's a little bit simplistic, but they need these. This is really basic, and they need the basics. So hopefully I'm going to finish that and just talk about them quickly. I'm doing summarising and monitoring together on purpose because I feel like that's a really good end point, and they kind of overlap a little bit. We're going to look at that short story again from... from English Edge 2, and the chapter that I'm using for my ideas is called Missing Links. Oh, there's the bell. Just show you. Is Missing Links in this book, and it's got lots of different little texts that you can use, talking about gaps and silences and use of dialogue. It's even got some visual text from the rabbits, and then this is the story that I'm using. It's called The Perfect Murder by Renee Yates, and I really like, it's got some little guided questions which I haven't used yet, but I'm thinking I can use them today to link in with those strategies. Anyway, yeah, it talks about dramatic dialogue as well. I can hear some of the kids starting to arrive, so I have to let them in, but I'll give you a few snippets of the lesson. I'm hoping today to do more roving as a teaching strategy, so I won't be able to show everything because of course kids will be in the picture then. So I'll show you what I can. Okay. So today I'm hoping to get through these last two comprehension strategies, Super 6 comprehension strategies. So far we've done these 4 that are up here. Today I thought I'd put these 2 together because they kind of do link in together. So said maybe you could read ahead. When you first look at a text, you should be looking at the structure of it. Remember we talked about this before. You're going to look at if there are subheadings. You're going to look at the title or the main heading. You're going to look at what's bolded. You're going to look at what stands out. If there are any images, I'll just close that door. If you just scan around the page, even if you're halfway through and you have no idea what's going on, if you look ahead at what's coming up, maybe it's a novel, you might flick through and have a look and see if the chapters have titles, or you might just fan through the book and see what's coming up. If you read ahead or skim ahead, that might help you. You could also do the same thing backwards, couldn't you? Could you backtrack and reread some of the stuff that you may have missed? Has that ever happened to you? Like, especially if you're tired and you're reading and then all of a sudden you think, I don't know what I just read. My mind's wandering or I'm a little bit sleepy, and then you usually go back and read the last sentence again just so that it gets into your brain. Okay, so you might backtrack. These dot points you're going to add to your sheet. Thank you, boys. These gentlemen have already figured it out. Well done. This is for monitoring. Now, even when you've done those things, sometimes you might have a problem. For example, you might not know some of the big daddy words that are in your text. Yay, someone's listening. That's my test. I always use that word to see if someone's listening. If there's a word you don't understand, what can you do with the word? What clues can you look for?
Can you spell it out?
Well, the spelling's there in front of you though.
Like, sound it out, I mean.
Oh, you mean sound out. Okay, yeah, you can use all of those strategies. You can look and see if there's a smaller word inside the bigger word and figure out what the base word is. That's also where your making connections can work as well. So, we're going to write breakdown words. Vocab is short for?
Vocabulary.
Yes, very good. Let's pretend that all of that doesn't work. For example, in this story that we had been reading, we started off from this book, remember? The Perfect Murder. And I only showed you the first 2 sections of that story. So there's still lots you don't know about the story, isn't there? You don't know what's going to happen next. You've used some predicting strategies and you've used some making connection strategies. But sometimes with your monitoring, you might just have to accept, okay, I don't know what's happening, but all will be revealed if I just keep reading. Just put it here. Okay, we're going to add those 3 dot points to your sheet, please. Once I show you, you'll go, oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So sometimes you'll have one of these. It's called a Venn diagram. Okay, there are heaps and heaps of them. And as you get older, you'll figure out which ones work best for your way of thinking. Any questions or comments? Put your hand up if you don't understand what I'm talking about. Fantastic. Now, just before we read it, can you please summarise what's happened so far in the story? Give me one thing.
Oh. A mum was looking in the window at these 2 kids.
Good. One other thing.
It's night time.
It's night time. She was having trouble sleeping. Very good. Okay? Because that's important. You're reducing the information and you're identifying what's essential in the story so far. Let's keep reading. It says, towards dawn she slept a little, but her sleep was light and fitful. She planned there in the darkness that was lifting now with the first glimmerings of dawn. By asking those questions of you, which strategy or strategies do you think are being used? Excellent. Why do you say that?
Because on the sheet says, do I understand what's happening?
Yeah, very good. So it's checking that you understand what's happening and that you're keeping in touch with the words that you're reading. Do you think there could be a little bit of summarising at the same time? Even though we're not quite at the end, you're sort of summarising what's happened so far in answering those questions. Nod your head. Oh, very good. Yes, you're quite right. Well done. So, what can you answer this for me? With more information now available, what can you assume about the character and who she may be? You know what? There's actually a little bit of predicting in there as well, because this story has a lot of gaps in it. We're not told a lot of information. So what can you assume about her? What do you think? Murder. Yes. Well done. Good answer, because you're saying she's got a veneer or a mask or a facade that she's showing to the outward world, but inside she's planning this bad stuff. Well done. What can you assume about the murder about to be committed? Using your predicting skills, your monitoring skills, and some of your summarising skills.
She's gonna grab a pillow out, okay? Act like she's sleeping. Someone's gonna walk up.
Neck
sit
minute.
down, then she's gonna pull a pillow, a knife out of the pillow. It's like shaking.
Oh my goodness, you've watched a lot of murder shows. So you're using some of your connections to help make your prediction, aren't you?
Yep.
It was not long before she saw her unsuspecting victim. So mean. You gotta wait for me. All right, let me read it now. Where was I? Brutally squeezing the life. Immobilized, her victim begged with feeble voice, with final breath, to be spared.
See, she's spared. Wasn't it a
Doesn't
murder?
say she spared it.
Yeah, to be spared.
No.
Read it again.
Killed her.
Outspared.
She went to sleep.
Doesn't want to.
Her
Let kids
victim,
see.
her victim begged to be spared.
I find that really dumb.
Oh my goodness! You want to throw the book on the ground? Why?
You know why?
Why?
Because there's kids playing in the park and she's choking someone.
But is it a human? Does it say it's a human?
It doesn't matter.
It's a puppy.
If you're a kid and you're swinging the swing and then all of a sudden...
That's true, but we don't even know what it is that she's murdered, do we? What can you assume about the victim, I mean?
I think it's a cat. It's a cat.
Yeah, it's just there. The cat crushed her.
Who thought it was a person?
Me.
I thought it was some random lady killing too.
Yeah. Can you read that bit?
Wait.
What?
The cat saying that this woman is a cat.
Let's read it.
Serious?
The warm, plump corpse she took gently between her teeth and carried swiftly back to her kittens. She's right. Yeah, she's right.
She read the bottom bit.
How was she wrong?
How did she know? What words told her? So all of you said the woman is a cat, didn't you? The children, yes. So you've made the connection not outside of the text, but within the text, and you've looked at the clues. Well done, well done. Okay, so I was really happy with that lesson. I managed to get through the last two Super 6 comprehension strategies, and I really feel like the kids understood what I was saying, and I really emphasised that they should apply it not just to English and not just to books or short stories, but to all kinds of texts. That's one of them. Aren't they pretty? I really tried to give them information to make it more applicable to high school type texts and the level of comprehension that we're expecting from high school students. I really liked using that short story from that book that I showed you. The really cool thing about the short story in this book was that it has a twist at the end, a really unexpected twist. And so while I was encouraging them to monitor and summarise and to make connections and predict, which they all did fine, there's that little twist at the end that's a surprise for everybody. So that was really cool. They were engaged with that. And yeah, I think I taught them something today or this week. I think I taught the kids something, and that's what they pay me for, so it's good. Let me know if you like this kind of video. I was sort of thinking that I'd try a bit of vlogging again. I have got some vlogging videos from earlier on, from about 10 months ago I think, or 11 months ago, which I might link some of those if you want to have a look at those. So I thought with weekly vlogs I might have a kind of a theme or a spotlight on one of my classes, and so this was the one on Year 8 for a week, or for 5 lessons across 2 weeks. And so yeah, let me know what you think about that kind of a video, that kind of a vlog, if you like it. The next one that I'm going to do is going to be a spotlight on Year 12 and what they're doing in class. Leave me a comment in the comment section below. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my little channel, and I'll see you next time.